Again, this is the same scenario because we'll see. I'm actually interested to see if you get like I don't think you're getting Booyah Bomb in time. I think you're stuck on this platform and you have to deal with poke from Blob and poke with blasters until the tower gets in this spot. And then you're kind of forced to swing like wide left because your teammates are like you kind of have to deal with it. Yeah. You might be able to mechanic your way out of this, but that's... I would consider that a blunder. Machine on this map kind of goes hard. TC on this map is a little scuffed. I mean, I think your comp actually is kind of nice. I think I like your comp a little bit more, but this is a little interesting. Your comp is really good on ledges. So I was kind of talking about it before, but like I think your team can snowball pretty hard, especially in TC when you're going to get passive charge on your pushes. Your Hydra is going to have Booyah Bomb more often. But your team has a lot of chip, your team has a lot of pushing power, and like once you have control, you're chilling. Yeah, Fizzy's over the truck is super solid. It's like this is fine, but now I want to start probably moving forward at this point. Like backing up and getting this paint, it leaves room for your teammates to feed and you can't do anything about it. This isn't necessarily a problem with you, but in solo queue, sometimes your team's gonna lose the early fight because they're like, oh, like, you know, with this timing, like our team's probably ready to push, and then they're gonna like look to go for some plays. Sad. Yeah, I like that you get back to the sponge because you can use this, like being on the open was very risky, but I'm glad that you made it back to the sponge because you can sit behind the sponge and you can also use the sponge to squid roll and give you some armor like when the shot's actually approaching you. I'll have to work on that. I'll have to get my graphics people to get that one in the works. I don't have graphics people. Ooh. I am surprised you got 2 picks from that. It was a good fizzy bomb. I'm surprised you got 2. I do like you holding the right side for this check. The fact that you're sitting on top of here while throwing this gives you a vantage point of all of this. You can't see people coming through mid potentially, but you can see anyone around this corner, and like as we can see with this trail, we're able to see anyone that may be pushing and flanking off of that paint. So it's a small thing, but if X-Ray throws this and doesn't have a camera perspective on these 2 angles, this area is very dangerous, and especially against their weapons. Honestly, all these weapons do a pretty good job around the ledges. So, you know, making sure you have enough either high ground or just a good enough vantage point to where you can notice these things and gather this info while you're still throwing this fizzy bomb. Obviously, the extra height gives you more range, but yeah, this is really important because I like holding this. But if X-Ray was playing it a little bit farther back currently and was more susceptible to people getting underneath this ledge without X-Ray knowing, then this is very dangerous, and a lot of people feed in these types of spots when they're defending on mincemeat in this point because they don't get this vision. I like that you didn't drop here. I didn't want you to get on the tower either, so I was a little concerned when you initially started pushing toward tower, but I like the way that you played it and you stayed like very, you kept yourself options, because even if you drop down here and get this pick, you're pretty likely to get traded in a lot of spots because there's probably people over here based off of all the stuff that's getting thrown our way. So I like that you stayed up top of here when getting these picks. I don't know if we necessarily need the Booyah Bomb, but if we want to clear this out and be able to push it, I think that's probably fine. Alright, well, that's good. I'm surprised they played it as aggressive as they did. I guess we don't know for sure. I guess technically carbon could still be up here, but if we're gonna take this fight, we're always potentially risking the carbon. Because I would much rather you sit on this ledge right here. Because if we know carbon isn't there, you can use this ledge as a shield against everything else on there. Like, range blasts are still an issue, but if they get that initial shot, you can like go back. As you drop, you do see that there's a carbon up here with the blaster. But if you're taking these types, like if you're taking any sort of fight in this area, this carbon is gonna pop off on you regardless. So yeah, if you were scared, being farther out is better. But if you were scared about them being in the spot, I would be taking shots on this anyways. After the death though, I'm interested in how you play the defense here. Because I would play it a specific way, and I'm interested in how you end up playing it. Seems like that drop was on accident. Oh my goodness. In this kind of scenario, I would actually probably paint base. Like I would want to get special so that I have Booyah Bomb for this first checkpoint. If you have to keep painting for special while like sitting in this area, you're just very in a tough spot. And the same thing goes for the rest of your team because they're probably not going to be going for stuff either. Contesting space or building. Yeah, it's a good point. I think it's map dependent. I think there's a lot of maps where you can like taking space is actually like better, but I don't know. For Mincemeat specifically, and especially in solo queue, and especially since their first check is still up, and the tower, like the tower was slowly moving back, but they hadn't gotten on tower by the time you respawn. So I think the timing for them to get the first check, having a wide open base for you to paint, I'm pretty confident that 99 out of 100 times you're having a Booyah Bomb ready for while they're trying to take the checkpoint. I have to look at it, but I'm interested in your thought process of jumping here. Again, we have plenty of room and plenty of options that we should be identifying after we get splatted and we're checking the map. We understand how much special we're coming out of spawn with, so basically half. And then, or a little bit more than half. I can comfortably get special, get into position on this right side, have my own Booyah Bomb up, and actually not that these leads are fantastic, but with it being 2 minutes left, holding this kind of lead is kind of important. And you can hold the lead pretty consistent based off of where the tower is, based off of, where they need to get the tower, the fact that 3 of your teammates are still up, and the fact that you're close to Booyah Bomb. Like the timings just make sense based off the paint available and how small this map is and so on and so forth. The jump makes sense. I just would choose not to do it. But your teammate was able to use Booyah Bomb to slow down the push, and you're choosing not to stop the tower, and you're conceding the fact that they're going to get lead, which I think is the right play in this spot because you'll kind of use your specials and you're still kind of scrambling, and this push isn't that much. Even if they get it to here or something, as long as you control it, and getting these picks is like making sure that they don't break open this game. I think this is pretty responsible of you, and a lot of people would be tempted to just go for the tower, but I like this play a lot more because we don't have Booyah Bomb ready. You know this blob? Hog? Nice shots. Good spacing, nice shots. Especially since it was like, you should do this, like the shots that you take on the tower, you space them for the carbon. And like, you should always do that. So that was really, really good. It's tough. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Let's see it to completion. That's so unfortunate. The reason why I don't like it here is because of where the tower is currently. So like once it gets here, that's probably when you want a Booyah Bomb. Because you want, like, I like timing the Booyah Bomb to when they're going to want to spam a bunch of stuff on tower when it's most likely for them to be able to stop it without, like, you know, a Booyah Bomb themselves or like some other special. And when, like, tower's most vulnerable from like right here to about here probably is like where it's most vulnerable. Also, if they're sitting here, like it's vulnerable here, but if they're camping here, you have tools to be able to deal with it. Again, this is the same scenario because we'll see. I'm actually interested to see if you get. I don't think you're getting Booyah Bomb in time. I think you're stuck on this platform and you have to deal with poke from Blob and poke with blasters until the tower gets in this spot. And then you're kind of forced to swing like wide left because your teammates are constant. Like, you kind of have to deal with it. Yeah. You might be able to mechanic your way out of this, but that's... I would consider that a blunder. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, like right here? Yeah, no, this is fine. No, I like this. I love this drop. But the reason why you have to drop like this, and this is a very, like, I'm super uncomfortable with this entire scenario. And I think you simplify the end game significantly if you paint for your base at the beginning. Like at this point, I'm getting my special before I even think about leaving this like spawn area. Because I do like you taking space potentially, but the way that this map basically happens, unless your Stamper goes for like a hero play, you're gonna end up on this plat and you're just stuck for the rest of the game. So I don't know. I would I would feel super comfortable because the tower's so far away. And this is their final push, basically. I guess technically it'd be the start here, and then it moves to the checkpoint, and then it goes down. And like this is the timing where I want Booyah Bomb. And by dropping here at this point, you're not getting this timing, which means you have to slay. Any time where you can avoid doing this by having your special and just play to this very simple win condition that everyone can kind of play around when you pop Booyah Bomb, that's what I would have preferred. But at the end of the day, you come out with it. I honestly think the biggest thing is like it's the macro. And for TC, it's the timing when people turn off their brain and this is both for your team and for the enemy team. And this happens on a lot of different maps, but it's so, this map in particular is very like, this is almost like the closest to like a flowchart. Because like Splatoon should never be played with a flowchart, but when it comes to having like a good special for this map mode specifically, and a lot for this map, but specifically for this map mode, you can almost flowchart your defense. And you have to, but this is like an important advice for TC as a whole. Honestly, for timing windows are something that expands past all of them, but we'll use TC as an, like it's for all modes, but we'll use TC as an example. And this really depends on if this checkpoint is up or not, or yeah. So like we're on defense over here. And this is the window where people turn off their brain. And I know because I always turn off my brain in this spot. And what I mean by when people turn off their brain is that they're going, this is the scenario where people are going to be looking to tunnel vision onto the objective because it's like so tantalizing. It's so like, it's such a good opportunity because it's like, oh, you know, Either it's directly in front of us or we have high ground on it now as it starts traveling like this way. So people are always going to want to like beat for it, both on offense and defense. Like both teams will definitely do it. And so we want to like take advantage of these windows. Obviously as a machine, I'm going to say GG Booyah. You're playing machine like you don't have a special. And because of how tiny and condensed the map is, you can get Booyah, like you can probably even get Booyah bombs up here and get them onto the tower during this time. But if you can hit these windows with special, where you can have a defense, it prevents your teammates from like, because like in that spot when you dropped out here on the right, even though like you made like a good play, like all three of your teammates went down because they didn't have a special to play around in this spot and they just panicked. So I don't know. That's the biggest thing is like leverage special. Because no one ended up taking the base paint, which is kind of to be expected. There's so many spots where I was just like panicked that you didn't have Booyah Bomb when you very easily could have got Booyah. And then this final game, very respectable stats. But again, the quality of these Booyah Bombs were, no offense X-Ray, hot garbage. But the strength of the actual play, this is a hard-working 14 and 6 for real.